Right, hello again. Just thought I'd do another quick video. Somebody That's something I was discussing with somebody the other day, and they were asking me about Z lenses and F mount lenses. You know, should you are F mount lenses still viable, or should you just go Z? So that's quite an interesting discussion. Now, I'm talking about this purely, let me get one thing, from an amateur point of view. Yeah, I'm not a professional photographer, and most of the YouTubers on YouTube are professional photographers. So you're kind of, I don't think you're always, I mean, some of them are really good and are honest and, you know, I would trust 100%. Others, not so much, because they're not always honest. You know, they are earning money from YouTube, unlike me. I'm not earning anything from it. Nobody's paying me to make these videos. These are purely hobby videos. They're just an extension of my hobby. So you will get my honest opinions. And you're quite happy to disagree. And I've noticed I still get a troll that always dislikes my videos, which is wonderful. I don't know why. They're obviously a bit mentally ill, because I'm not getting paid. You're not harming my videos. I don't care whether you dislike. But I would much rather, if you really don't like my videos, don't watch them. It's not difficult. You don't have to watch my videos. If you don't like what I'm saying, well, disagree with me in the comments. I mean, that's, you know, or are you're just jealous of what I've got and think I must have more money than you, or I don't know. I don't know what motivates somebody to continue to follow my channel just with the sole purpose of putting a dislike on my videos. Very strange, very sad. I suspect there's thousands of them out there, but there you go. That's the way it goes. That's the internet for you. Anyway, back to the subject. Yeah, so I was discussing this with someone, and I said, well, go for whatever you feel's best. Now, as you can see, I've got a new camera. This is a Z6. And, I mean, these are less than half the price of what they were. And it's still a fantastic camera. I mean, it really is. So, you know, we're still waiting on the Z6 III. If that's coming out, they have announced, Nikon, by the way, that they are no longer doing a roadmap of their lenses. So I suspect you're not going to get a roadmap of any cameras either. So they are just going to suddenly bring things out. So we may be in for a few surprises. Now, whether that pertains to cameras as well, again, it remains to be seen. I really thought the Z6 III, if it was going to happen, would have happened by now. But it obviously hasn't. So I don't really know why that is, what they're waiting for. Is there a Z7 III as well? Are they going to update the Z50? I mean, who knows? It's a puzzle. It's interesting. I would love an update to the Z50 personally. It's a great lens, a great camera, but it could do with an update, you know. And this is going to be my small, and this is a terrific lens, this 50 to 250. It really is sharp. I mean, for £199, you can't go wrong. So obviously this is a Z lens, and obviously it goes straight onto the camera. Whereas this is, I mean, if I'm going a bit in and out of the subject, but going back to the subject matter, this is an F-mount lens. And this is the older 24 to 70 2.8G ED lens. It's a wonderful lens. It really is. The images that are coming out of this are really sharp. Now, obviously, with this F-mount lens, I've got to add the teleconverter. So basically, and these tend to be slightly, I suspect this is heavier than the newer Z-mount 24 to 70. So if you can handle just a little bit of extra weight and the fact that you've got to put a converter on it, then you still, which they do work flawlessly. So if you can manage that, and if that's not too much of a big deal for you, go for that. That's £400. That cost me £400, that lens. The newer 24 to 70 is what, nearly £2,000 if you buy it in the UK. I think you can get them for about 1,500 on the grey market, or if you buy them from Hong Kong. But it's still it's 4 times the price. Now, I'm not questioning, is it a better lens? Well, yes, it's going to be better in certain aspects, but in terms of image quality, are you really going to notice any great differences? And you're not. You're really not. This is a great lens in its own right. It was a workhorse professional lens and for many years, and that hasn't changed. That hasn't suddenly become a bad lens because there's newer models out there. It doesn't produce any worse images than it did 5-10 years ago. So if you're not a professional and you want a 24 to 70 or a 70 to 200, I've just ordered the older 20 from Japan. I've had to but I've bought the grey version, so we'll have a look at that when it arrives. That's coming next week. I bought that from Japan because it's about the only place you can get the rarer grey versions. I don't know. I mean, that is gas, isn't it? I could have probably got a cheaper one by buying a black version, but I'd love the look of the grey, and this one looks in really excellent condition. So there you go. Because I do want that low light. I think for a bit of wildlife photography, that 70 to 200 will come in quite useful. So, and on this camera, it will just work for that sunset situations, and I think that will be good. And obviously, I've got my 500mm prime here, and this is just such a fantastic lens. It really is. I bought new lens hood. Rather than the great big lens hood that they supply with it, I bought this metal one. And it just fits perfectly, and it does the job, and it saves me having to worry about the lens cap. And I can't stand lens caps. I'm always losing them. I lost 2 in Botswana. The blooming things are a pain in the arse. So if you can just keep, and that's which makes it smaller, it makes it much better than the original. So yeah, and you know, I know they've brought out the 400 and the 600, haven't they? Recently, but the 600 again. I mean, you've got the 500 PF here, which is you can pick up for about £1,500, but the 600 is slower at 6.3, and you're only gaining 100mm. I guarantee you're not going to tell the difference between the images, and you're paying what, about £5,000 or £6,000, but you're paying 3 or 4 times the price again for the sake of 100mm. I mean, I just don't think it's worth it. So, I mean, you know, don't forget, if you're a pro, then you can afford to go and buy the latest and greatest, because you can put it down to expenses, or you put it onto the client. But if you're an amateur photographer, like I think most of us are. I mean, most professionals are wedding photographers. Let's be honest. You know, I should imagine the amount of professional wildlife photographers and landscape are pretty small on the scale of things. Most photographers, professionals, take pictures of people, which for some of us find quite boring. I don't enjoy taking pictures. I'm not interested in people. I have no interest in taking pictures of people at all, even if it meant being paid. So there you go. But they will, you know, can offset on expenses, or you charge the client. But for most of us, if you want a 24-70, and I think this is a real, you know, if you're going anywhere and you know, you just want to take one camera, one lens, that covers most things. If you're going on a little trip or something, this is your birding lens, and this is like this I will take when it's. So for this, obviously I just stick to Z lenses because, you know, I've got the Viltrox, the wide angle for this as well, and that's all I really need with this. And obviously I use this on this as well for the extra reach. And this is basically for everything else. The only thing I think I might be missing is a macro lens. I might look, because I quite like doing a bit of macro. But yeah, I mean, don't rule out F-mount lenses, because a lot of them, they're just as good as they always were. They haven't gone, you know, Z-mount lenses, they're fantastic. They're all really sharp. And you might get more variations in sharpness with the old F-mount lenses, but if you're getting a good F-mount lens, and you know, a lot of them were fantastic, superb, sharp lenses, then there's nothing wrong with using one of them if you're going to get it at like half the price or more than that. You know, why pay 3 or 4 times the price when you're not actually going to see that? You're not going to see that in your images. You won't see that price difference in the images. You really won't. So don't kid yourself that, you know, the new Z lens is going to give you 4 times better image quality, because it's not. In fact, you're probably going to have to pixel peep to see any differences at all. And anybody that's honest about that will tell you that. No, you know, even on these YouTubers that say, oh, well, this one's sharper, and that, what they don't always tell you is that they really have to pixel peep to see those differences. Now, some will be honest about that, and others won't. But to be honest, there aren't massive great differences. And let's be honest, nowadays, the Photoshop and can iron out any issues that you might have. The amount of software that's available today, that will, you know, I mean, there are differences. The differences in colours are often quite noticeable between lenses. How they render colour, that can be quite a noticeable difference. But that can be ironed out in post as well. But again, you're only going to notice these things if you're sitting there comparing. If you haven't got the 2 lenses, and you've got nothing to compare, so you're never going to notice anyway. There's too much, you know, worry about, oh, this lens is better than that lens, and blah, blah, blah. You know, you don't always get what you pay for in photography lenses. You know, in so many things, you do get what you pay for. I think when it comes to lenses, you often don't. You often get overpriced for what you pay, you know, because there are cheaper options that, as I say, I'm not saying the Z lenses aren't better, although I'm still tempted to think a lot of these are very much like Tamron lenses. I do wonder who really makes them, because they do feel and look like Tamron lenses. These Nikon Z lenses, I've got to say, they do have They might have the Nikon name on them, but I wonder who really makes them. They do look, and they very similar to Tamron lenses. I think there's a link there somewhere. Yeah, but especially when you compare them to the older f-mount lenses. I mean, these are Nikon through and through. Some of these, I don't know, they do feel and look a little not quite so Nikon-y, if you like. I don't know, but they are great lenses, no question. And if you can, I mean, some of them are really good value as well. So, you know, go for the Z mount. But if you're really looking at the more expensive lenses, like your 24 to 70s, your 70 to 200s, don't rule out the older f-mount lenses, because they're just as good in so many ways. That the biggest difference is the price, not the quality. Anyway, I just thought I'd have a little chat about that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you would. I would appreciate that. Not enough people are doing that. It does help, you know, if this channel is to go anywhere, because it can't go anywhere without subscribers. I'm pleased with what I've got. As I say, this is a hobby. It's not, I'm not making money out of it. I'm not trying to compete with anyone. It's just me sharing a hobby. So, till the next one.